Stampers, this is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations, and we're here today for another Facebook Live. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, here to share with you some ideas, and I'm going to give you some links. If you need any of the supplies we use in today's project, you can buy them from my store. That's open 24/7. Also, you can visit my blog at queenbeecreations.net for just an abundance of ideas, and also my YouTube channel. So there's links to all my social media over on my blog, and I encourage you to check it out. We're working on this cute little desk calendar that's kind of an easel card, and then there's a set of post-it notes inside. So what we need to do this is we need a piece of a base cardstock. So I chose Mossy Meadow, and this one is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2 and 2 3/4. I have another piece that is going to be the stand-up part of our card that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We're going to put a layer on the inside and the outside of the Designer Series paper. So this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then for our little post-it note thing on the inside, I have a base that's 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, our 3 by 3 post-its. And then this piece is 4 inches by 3 1/8. But then I scored it at 3 1/8, so the top is 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. Gave it about a 1/2 inch to allow for room for the post-it note, and then have a little bit that I'm going to tack onto the back. So those don't have to be real precise. Like I said, I gave it about a 1/2 inch, but as you can see, I've got some extra. So it could take a thicker pad if I wanted to. But just basically, you want it to wrap over the top. So that's why it does that. And then I have the 2 1/2 by 3 1/4 that's going to hold our calendar. And I bought these in sets of 10. So again, tailoredexpressions.com is where I got those. And they just tear off. And then for the top, I decided to go with the Ornate Frames dies, and then the stitch rectangles fit right in the middle of it. So I have those here. So that's going to be for our new card. As you can see, the stitched rectangles fit, you know, all sorts of different things. And this was the one that I used. It was the smallest of these. And it fit right inside of this die, which was from the Ornate Layers dies. So I love the way things will interchange. So if you get any of these basic shapes, they just have endless amounts of ideas because they're all going to intermax and they're all going to work with all of our stamp sets. So that's super cool. Okay, from the base, we're going to start with that. And I'm going to take a bone folder and I am going to turn the valley into a mountain. And then burnish the end. And then I'm going to flip this one this direction because what I want it to do is this is going to be the part of the easel. So this will be what stands up. And then I'm going to take this second piece and glue it on so it's going to go right there so that when it stands up, it's full size. And I'm going to do that with liquid glue so I have some time to get it adjusted and make sure we're all lined up. So 4 by 5 1/4 are going to be these two pieces. And like I said, I'm going to put one on inside and one on the outside. I have found that I really like using Zoom. I've used it with a few customers and I've used it with my team, and I really enjoy being able to get together and socialize even though we're not like physically in person. It makes me feel like I'm not quite so isolated, because at least before I had my classes and at least once a week, you know, somebody would show up and talk to me. But without that, Zoom has been my go-to. So if any of you ever want to get together and do like a one-on-one class, you know, let me know. Yeah, quarantine's been a great time to work on the yard. Okay. So there's that part. Now what's going to hold it up is it's going to rest against the notepad. So we're going to put that together. So I'm just going to start with some tear and tape, and I'm going to put that on this strip back here that's going to wrap around to the back of my Post-it notepad. There's that part. And then I'm going to just put some on the back of our Post-it notepad, and then we'll put it onto the base. Some friends of ours have continued to go camping and getting together for stuff, but I don't know. It kind of freaks me out a little bit that they're not being very careful. I have gotten together with a few other friends that I know are careful, and we can be careful together, but those that are saying, you know, oh, this is all a big hoax and I'm not going to wear a mask, I kind of stay away from those people. I apologize if you're one of them, but like I said, it just scares me, so I'd rather be safe than sorry. So we still wear our mask at church and all that good stuff. But I do miss being able to travel. We toured the penitentiary up in Idaho, in Boise, this weekend. And it was kind of an outdoor thing. There were a few buildings you went into, but for the most part you walked around outside. And you had to buy tickets in advance because they severely limited anybody who could go in and do anything. And then they made you, you know, of course, socially distance and wear a mask and all that good stuff. But it was so strange to, like, get out of the house and go do something. So there's the part that's going to stop the easel. It'll rest up against the Post-it notepad. And now we're ready to add our calendar. So I have my little red piece of paper, again, 2.5 by 3 1/4. And then I have our little calendar, and I'm going to center that on here. And then I'm going to place it on the card front, but I'm going to go above the pad because I don't want it to run into the notepad when it's mounted. So I'm going up probably a good 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, so that when it hits, there's still some room here. We wouldn't want the notepad to block being able to pull off the calendars. Then all we needed was a little decoration up at the top. And like I said, I used the ornate layers. And when I did my other one, I put both stamps on one block. But to me, that was kind of, I don't know, a little too far apart. And so I have them on separate blocks now. And I'm going to stamp onto our little very vanilla rectangle. Okay. So this is out of Ornate Thanks, is the name of this set. And so I'm just using, I don't know that liquid glue is stronger than tape or not. I just like it because it gives me that wiggle room, you know, so I can center things up and all that. I just know that when we had snail and tear and tape was much stronger. Just like now when we have the Stampin' Seal and then the Stampin' Seal Plus. The Stampin' Seal Plus is definitely much stronger. There we go. I'm a little happier with that. It's a little closer together. Looks more natural to me, although they both work. And then I decided that I could give it a little bit of dimension. Since it's already too thick to mail regular-wise anyway, it won't hurt me to throw some dimensionals on here and make it pop. It just makes it look more 3D when it's sitting on the desk. And there we go. There's our little easel card. Now this is just one style that you can do with these adorable little calendars. Actually, the gal who ordered them for me, Melinda, she had actually made me this one. And so thank you, Melinda, for prompting me about using these calendars. I've seen them on Pinterest for a very long time and just hadn't actually gotten around to doing it. And she ordered, I gave her the money and she ordered up some calendars for me, so I had some to show you guys. But this one is just a 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. They decorated it like a front of a card, but then put the calendar there. And then on the inside, she has this piece that was 4 inches, I think by 5 inches maybe, and it was scored in the middle, and then it was scored 2 inches this way and 2 inches that way. So it had a 1/2 inch going up each direction. So I guess it would have been scored at 1/2, 2 1/2, 4 1/2, and then it would have been ended at 5. So that's another idea. You can do this style. I actually did that on this one that I did on a blog post the other day. I made a card and then I made the calendar to go with it, and that was using her dimensions. And then when I was doing today's, I made another one and I just turned it sideways. And so this is a standard card base that is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So it's actually 8 1/2, but then scored at 4 1/4. So 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4, and then it's got the little piece in the bottom. And this one's a little shorter. I suppose I could have made it the 2 inches, but I decided to make this one. I think there was 1/2 inch. So this is scored at 1 1/2, 2 1/2. So it was 3 inches wide. And I just turned it sideways. And then I just put a little flower on the top there. So there's lots of different ideas that you can do with these. I would encourage you to get out your stamps and start playing around. These make a great gift around the holidays, and people just love them, and you can set them out on your desk and, you know, show other people. And they always are a good conversation starter. People come up and go, "Oh, that's so cute. Where'd you get that?" And you go, "Oh, Stampin' Up. I have just the catalog you need to look at." So thank you for joining me. Again, I'm going to put up the supplies in the description of this video, and if you need anything for the making of these calendars, I encourage you to shop my store, and I will see you back here next Monday.